They won it by less than 6,000 votes. And they've used that one-seat majority to do everything that you shouldn't do. They departed from every parliamentary norm. Normally, when we had the majority, we'll take the speaker, we'll give them the deputy speaker. They took both the speaker and the deputy speaker in the House. That's one. It's a signal of direction, how they manage. Secondly, they blocked the anti-money laundering bill. They say we are corrupt, we're in bed with drug dealers, but the bill that could investigate there are people who are into drug dealing and seize their assets and prosecute them, they refuse to pass it. We got the CFATF and the FATF, these are international bodies, the Financial Action Task Force. We got them to look at our version of the bill. They said, this is the version of the bill that would avoid the country being blacklisted. They refused to pass it. Now they're promising that they will pass it if they get into office. Put the country at financial risk. You know what happens now? If you want to send money to Guyana, you have enhanced scrutiny. The cost of doing business, transaction costs has gone up because of their action. It's anti-private sector, anti-Guyana. They blocked the hydropower. This hydropower, not a cent of it would have been spent by government, not a cent of debt incurred. They said we were going to incur debts. They had it wrong. It was contingent liability. It's an American company, Blackstone, one of the biggest companies in the world, that had a subsidiary, Site Global, that was the project developer. They would sell power to the government at 10 cents per kilowatt hour. We're generating at 20 cents per kilowatt hour. We subsidize power in many parts of the country. Over 20 years, we'll have to pay them at 10 cents per kilowatt hour. Then after the 20th year, the hydropower comes to the government for free. In those 20 years, we would have saved $3 billion from subsidies. The consumers and the government would save over $3 billion. The cost of the hydro is $850 million. It would double our capacity of energy supplied now, the quantity of energy supplied. They said it was corrupt first, but then they realized that we're not the project developers, that it was Blackstone who went to a tender and chose the Chinese company. So they moved away from it. Now a few weeks ago, we kept pressing Granger. I kept saying, well, you were against a miler. So what are your plans for bringing cheap power to Guyana and renewable energy? They had an article in the newspaper that they would raise local bonds. Now, if they do that in Guyana, and you take $850 million out of our financial system, what will happen is the cost of credit will shoot up, interest rates will go up. The country can't sustain that kind of expenditure. And here, you're getting it done, you're just buying power. So after we pressed him and he realized it's not, they don't have an alternative, he's just promised the GMA that he will build their miler, the same project that they opposed for 3 years. 3 years, because they're anti-national. They oppose the Marriott Hotel because, again, Ramjatan's client is Badal. Badal, who's just joined them on the platform. He owns the Pegasus Hotel. If the Marriott comes along, the Pegasus can't charge Bashkar $380 a night for a room that he complained about. Can't charge him because he'd probably have to charge $100 because Marriott's feasibility study was run on $150 per night, and it was feasible. And this is a bigger hotel. So they have stymied everything. They've cut over $80 billion from the budget the past several years, 3 years. They're promising free education, yet they cut out the student loan. They say they love the Amerindians, they cut the development funds. They cut the money that Norway gave us. This is free money through our carbon initiative to spend in a number of areas. They cut that out. If we judge them only on the past 3 years, we should not re-elect them. Much less if we go back to the 28 years and Greenwich and stuff. So character matters. Character and Nagamootoo has shown that his character is very, very deficient because he will move from party to party for power, simply for power. Absolutely no principle. He sits with a man on the same platform that denied the entire history of Guyana, denies the entire history, and he sits there and falls in love with him, saying it's a beautiful marriage they have and everything else. Sucking up. You know, no character whatsoever. And Granger, he would not tell us what happened with the guns. He wouldn't come clean on the guns that went to the PNC, the 400 weapons that found their way into the hands of criminals in 2004. What was his role? He had a major role in the army. Character matters. So on character of the candidates, on the future, our plans for the country, on our achievements, we are competitive. We're not arguing because we're PPP, just support us. Now the only thing they keep coming after, because they can't deal with track record and future, they say we are corrupt, we're all thieves. So let us examine a bit of that we're thieves. Let's start with the systems. Irfan mentioned a few of the things. The systems that we've put in place. I'd show you the double standards. He mentioned the Marriott when we had the corruption budget series. So we said, okay, we showed them, we advertised twice, including in the kite show, which said it was a secret project. We got 2 bids, a French company and a Chinese company. Chinese company, the lower bid by $10 million. We awarded to the Chinese company. So when we had the debate series, they said, we kept asking who took the money, and they said, well, it's not anybody took the money, you shouldn't have used it there. But then, recently, as last week, Christopher Ram said, we did not do a feasibility study for the Marriott before we signed the contract. So, this was carried across the Kaicho News and Starbuck News as though it's gospel. Anything that is critical of the government, they carry it full splash. We pointed out that in 2010, Ashni Singh presented the feasibility study that was done by Marriott itself. In the same 2010, we did another feasibility study by a Miami-based company. Both were tabled in Parliament, and we only signed the contract after the feasibility study. We updated the study in 2012. What he has done, he took the front page of the updated study and then said, look when they did the feasibility study after the contract. But until now, they keep distorting the reality of the Marriott. Let's talk about Amaila. You know, so Ramjatan helps Badal to frustrate the Marriott because Badal would lose business. The second thing is Amaila. The only people to get money from Amaila is Cathy Hughes, who was the PRO for the company, Site Global. And then we found out that Nigel Hughes, her husband, 2 of the AFC members, was the company secretary. They're the only 2 people. Not anyone else made money from the Amaila fall, this so supposedly corrupt project. But when you dig into it in greater detail, you find that that's the case. The specialty hospital, we went to tender. The guy who lost the bid, guess who his lawyer was? Ramjatan again. Every single one of these projects that they talk about being corrupt, somehow they have their hands involved in it as the lawyers benefiting from huge fees from these foreign investors. So when I exposed Grenade recently, he transferred a house to himself in 2013. When he was no longer minister, he transferred it to himself 93, yeah, 93. 4 months after he ceased to be a minister, he transferred himself as minister. He said, you know what was his response? If they think I'm corrupt, they should go to the police. Well, if they think we're corrupt, they should go to the police too. The same logic of it. But every single thing becomes corruption. Now, we've had a couple of studies done. In fact, a week ago, not a week ago, 3 weeks ago, the acting ambassador, the US ambassador, came with some surveyors from Vanderbilt University. Vanderbilt University has done a study for Latin America and the Caribbean for the last 15 years. So they look at two issues that I want to talk about because many people keep raising these issues with us. There's crime and corruption.